Welcome to episode 21 of Let's Talk Money with Wendy Selebi. A few days ago, we actually celebrated 1 year of the podcast being in existence. And I thought we should pause and celebrate where we have come from and what we have achieved. They always say, "Fanele sibongo okuncane, sibongo okukhulu," and that's what we are doing here. And so I'm also excited to announce that in the next few episodes, we'll be chatting to experts in the home loans space or home loans field to empower you, to give you knowledge around the home buying process. And so this morning, I'm honored to speak to a trailblazer in the home buying space, specifically in the digital innovation space. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, help me welcome Mr. Tim Akinnusi, the CEO and founder of MortgageMarket. Morning, Tim.
Morning, Wendy.
How are you?
I'm very well. It's really good to see you.
Yeah.
We go back in our banking days.
Yeah, so, we do.
It's good to see us now on the other side, doing great things. And congratulations on this being 1 year since you've been doing this.
Yeah.
Time goes really, really fast.
It really does. Thanks. And Tim, I was just sharing with someone the other day, and I'm saying we launched the podcast on the 6th of May last year. And then on the 25th of May this year, I'm launching my first book. So Wonderful. I was just saying to them, wow, I love May, or May loves me, somewhere there.
Yeah. May Day.
Yeah. And actually amazing, when I started work at Nedbank at the Perm Building Society, then I started in May. So I must actually think about this, and I got married in May. My goodness.
Okay.
That's
nice.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
So Tim, just as a way of us starting the conversation, I always ask my guests to introduce themselves, to share as much or as little as they're comfortable. That would be your journey in terms of whether you're married or where you've worked and so on.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, so name Tim Akinnusi, been in financial services now for nearly 16 years. A large part of that has been in home loans. Worked for 2 banks. I live in Joburg. Crossed over the corporate space to become an entrepreneur. Married with 2 kids. And living the entrepreneurial so-called dream. Mm-hmm. It's not been an easy journey, but it's been a worthwhile journey. And just really excited about where we're going as a business. Excited about the country. I know there's a lot of very interesting dynamics that we're facing now. May is an important month for us as we are heading into elections.
Yes.
But I'm really excited about where South Africa is and where our journey is as a business as well. So,
Yeah. When I introduced you, I said that you're a trailblazer in the innovation space. I remember during my days at Nedbank, because you were in the home loan space, and you developed an end-to-end system, digital platform that had never been done before. Do you want to just share a little bit about that? Because, digital then was not as it is now. With people getting used to using digital platforms.
Yeah, sure. That was an interesting journey. In fact, throughout my banking career, one of the things that I had, on reflection noticed is that I'd always moved into roles or areas where we were starting up something. Mm-hmm. So I've been a little bit of a startup guy within the banking space. When I started Nedbank first, this was pre-social media. Mm. I used to look after the bank's website, internet banking, and generating of digital leads back then. And then I left to a company called Clientele Life, and I started up an online application business there to generate leads in the insurance space. And then finished my MBA and then got back into Nedbank Nedbank had just taken a big hit from the global financial crisis back then in the 09, 010 space. They lost about R1 billion they'd kind of just sort of watered down their front end. And by 2011, they wanted to restart their front end again, but they wanted to do things on their own terms, as in originate their own home loans. So I started off a division there, and people said, well, home loans, like such a complex product, it's full of hand holding and lots of documents. Like, how are you going to digitize this entire process? And one of the things that I knew was that internet penetration was increasing in the country, and that things were getting easier. Technology was getting a lot easier to build, and you could really use strong design, right, to simplify a very complex product. So we went off and we built an application channel where an individual could originate a home loan end to end on the bank's website. And that was very important because by doing so, literally we could give people a bond response within a couple of hours, taking it from 3 weeks, right? The average is about 2 to 3 weeks, all the way to a couple of hours. It was revolutionary back then. This was in 2012. And it was very difficult for the other banks to follow suit because their entire operation was based on a very different model, still very much branch based, and others using origination. So Nedbank ate up a lot of market share and really attracted a lot of customers. By the time I left, that business was doing probably close to R1 billion worth of home loans annually, right? But it sparked a thought within me that if this could work, if I could build that channel for one bank, then this could work for a multitude of lenders.
Yeah.
And that was actually the spark of what MortgageMarket is today.
Yeah.
Is this idea that we can originate a home loan across the entire spectrum of lenders using a single online application.
Yeah, I might say that, when you, at that time, I was head of staff banking, and we used to facilitate all the applications for staff, specifically home loans. And when they said, oh no, now you can do it digitally and get an answer, I was like, we want human beings. We want the human interaction. And, but, later we tried it. And when we realized how powerful it was, that, you could get a response within such a short space of time, then we bought into it and we became comfortable with it. And I guess, then, as you said, digital and social media and all of those were not, in your
prevalent
face.
as
they are now.
Yeah.
So anyway, one of the things that is important, if you look at Maslow's pyramid of a hierarchy of needs, he places a home, warmth, security in the second part of the pyramid, under safety and security, which means that having a home is not a luxury, but it's truly a need for everyone.
It's a necessity,
Yeah, we all need shelter. Why was it important for you in particular to, branch into the home loans market to help customers navigate this complex process?
Sure. So Wendy, probably closer to 2017, 2018, I started to feel like I had done my run in corporate. I started to feel like, as much as I was climbing the ladder and, I moved on to APSA, and I was young then. It was like 32, and I felt very unfulfilled, right? Granted, I was very privileged to, be well paid and to be given lots of opportunity. But as a person, I felt like the work that I was doing was not making a real impact. And that's what caused me to then cast my mind back to my early days at Nedbank, where I had built digital channels then and said, there's an opportunity to really accelerate the access for people to get access to funding opportunities to actually buy their own homes, and for them to be well educated about what it takes to be a homeowner and what you can do with property. I was fortunate that I bought my property when I was quite young, and I had a very unique experience because I went to a show day on the Sunday and not the Saturday.
Yeah.
Because I was out partying on the Saturday, right? And I missed out on an opportunity to buy a house that was priced at 350,000 Rand then.
Sure.
It was in Sunny Hill, a bachelor pad. And then on the Sunday, they were already selling phase 2. And phase 2 for that very same house was now 400,000 Rand. So 50 grand more. That's what that day cost me, right? Because I didn't go early. And so I realized two things, is that one, housing is not getting cheaper. They're not buying it, they're not making any more land, right? So the quicker you get into it and the quicker you understand it, right, the easier it is for you to start to build a financial nest egg for yourself, whilst getting the utility value of having a great place like shelter, etc.
Yeah.
So starting Mortgage Market for me was about saying, how do we bring majority of South Africans that are not living in decent homes today, that don't understand the value of property, that don't have access to property, how do we provide them with the tools to understand how to get there? Because ultimately, property is deeply rooted in how societies are built and how communities are built. And your decision today to become a property owner, right, affects so many other industries, right? The attorneys, the banks, moving companies, property, furniture shops, security, just because you took that decision to buy that house, right? So many other industries, benefit from that, and that's how really the economies grow, and that's how societies grow and evolve. So property for me has been a very important thing. In fact, around the world, not just in emerging markets, right? Around the world, property is still the number one asset class that every individual, is affected by, either directly or indirectly.
Yeah, no, that was just a powerful point there. I've never thought about how one individual's decision to purchase a property has got so many other industries. Yeah, sure. And that's why it's so important, that we empower, customers or clients, potential clients that are thinking of purchasing property, for them to become aware, of what they need to do, or to know the knowledge they need to make the right decisions. I mean, when I bought my first property, my goodness, I had no idea what I was doing. And I relied heavily on the builder that was building the house for me. And that was even worse. It was a building loan. I didn't even understand anything. And I mean, I write about it in my book, and it was a hilarious experience. Yeah. And I wouldn't want anyone to go through what I've gone through. And that's why I'm doing, this A to Z education program. So when and how was Mortgage, Market born?
Yeah. So it was born out in 2018. I thought about the opportunity of saying, if I was unhappy and unfulfilled by my corporate career, and I knew that I could make a difference, and I was still young, and I said to myself, if there was ever an opportunity to take a chance to start something that can really create an impact and move the industry forward, it is going to be that point in time, right? I was fairly financially stable. The industry was on the cusp of a lot of change, because if I looked at the origination industry over the last 20 years, there had been no innovation, there had been no advancements being done. And essentially, it was a gap that I picked up, and I said, if I don't do this now, somebody else is going to create an entity called MortgageMarket. And I'll forever be, looking at myself and saying, you knew the idea was there. Everything checked out. The market checked out. Timing checked out. And you just didn't have the courage to do it.
Yeah.
And I said, I didn't want to live with that.
Yeah.
And so hence starting MortgageMarket was about pursuing that idea that I could create a platform that gave unfettered access to all the lending banks, and to do it in a way that people would understand and get a better experience of what it means to be a homeowner through that journey of applying for their home loan. And thereafter to be able to ensure that they got the best home loan deal and to be able to give them a tangible reward back. So through our platform, we're the only ones today that when you apply for a home loan on our platform, yes, we have service advisors that support you because people like the comfort of a warm body, but you literally have the ability to control your application journey all on your own, very conveniently, very transparently, and to do this in a way that we will pay you 5,000 cash back when your house got bonded, and you were definitely certain that you were getting the best deal because we helped you negotiate and shop around all the lenders in the country. So that's what we set off in 2019. The whole of 2019, we worked on the technology, worked on the commercial, we worked on the product, and then we launched this straight into 2020, and we've been on that journey ever since.
Yeah. Wow. So important that when you pick up a gap in the market, you must move, because if you procrastinate, then somebody else will pick up.
100%.
One of the money archetypes that Nedbank did that I love talking about is the dreamer, that looks at somebody that has literally taken the idea they had and made a success of it, and they sit there and they say, wow, look, that was my idea. And now look at this guy or this lady, she's doing amazing things. And I'm just grateful that you took that step of faith. We must all do that.
Absolutely.
When we see a gap, we must be in there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There are so many, I always say this, there's so many entrepreneurial ideas and so many entrepreneurial businesses that are waiting to be born out there. And the people that actually have the insight, the knowledge, the research, the ability to size the market correctly are sitting in corporates today, right? They are, in many instances, maybe there's other reasons why they haven't taken the leap.
Yeah.
But I definitely know that if you are an expert in a corporate or in a bank today, and you've had the opportunity to meet all the role players in the industry, understand the size of the market, understand the commercial opportunity, and see the gap that a bank is not playing.
Yeah.
And you still sit there. You are sitting on a gold mine because you could literally, be starting a business that can fill that gap and make a big impact, not just for yourself, but also in the market that you are looking to serve. So, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so to somebody that's watching and thinking, okay, MortgageMarket, it's a digital platform. Then there's estate agents, then there's originators. Where does everybody fit into this puzzle?
Right. So in our business, we have two parts of our business. We've got the B2B and we've got the B2C.
Okay.
So the B2C is where we engage the general market of potential buyers to come online, create a profile onto our application, onto our platform, and they can apply for a home loan and get pre-approved within 2 minutes, and apply for a home loan and get access to all of our services there, right? And then we have another business, which is our B2B model, where we cater to estate agents, where we help them get pre-approved. We help their customers get access to all the lending banks, and we provide them with a list of other services. We have property developers where we help them package and take products to market. We can either choose to, it just depends on the scope of where the developer is and where they want us to participate. And ultimately, we help them launch their product and use our technology to create that level of convenience where a customer can be pre-approved at the development. They will purchase and make an application for their home loan at the same time, and to do that with a great deal of comfort. And so we were able to work with all industry players, buyers, estate agents, property developers, and now we've expanded that obviously across the borders of South Africa into Namibia, but the service is still very much the same. And we are also looking at other platforms to support anyone who wants to get into the real estate profession to be able to do so with ease, whilst we provide them with all the tools to ensure that happens for them.
Sure, that's awesome. Congratulations on your expansion.
Thank you.
Into Namibia.
Thank you.
Okay, so maybe this is a good time for us to, unfortunately you won't be able to see this, but I'm sitting across a beautiful board that shows you the 10 or 12 step process that I understand takes about 20 minutes.
Yes.
And then we're done, So I'd like you to just take us through from step 1 to step 12.
Okay.
How one can quickly, through this digital platform, access their a home loan grant.
Right.
Yeah.
So quite simply, they would get onto our website, which is MortgageMarket.co.za. They would create a profile that takes about a minute to do. And then as soon as you create that profile, you'll be greeted with a pre-approval tool. They will ask you to be pre-approved literally within 2 minutes. Now you would do a verification on there where you answer 5 security questions to ensure that you are who you say you are, and you put in your income and your expenses, and it will pull your credit report from TransUnion or from Experian into that portal, and you'll be able to get your affordability and your credit score. Thereafter, all of your data that sits with any of the bureaus will be pulled onto an application form, which makes it so much easier for you to complete the application form. And then you'd enter in your income, your expenses, you upload your pay slip, your ID number, your ID copy, and bank statements, and you click the submit button, and it will then go in real time to all of the banks, who will then assess your application and start coming back with various quotations or requests for more information. At that point in time, we would have a service advisor that will give you a call and ask you about how you're experiencing the entire thing and explain to you the A to Z of what to expect from this journey, and then help you on our comparison screen compare and get the best deal. And ultimately, you would click the offer that you've been given, and the banks will then call you to sign with the attorneys.
Sure.
And that's the entirety of the process. It is slick, it is well catered for, and the beauty of it, at the end of the day, you'll get a cashback amount that will go to you as soon as your bond is registered. And that's the end of the process.
My goodness. Wow. That's an efficient and effective process. I mean, and that can be done in about...
Yeah, probably in about 20 to 30 minutes
20 to 30
in terms of the
minutes, yeah.
capturing.
Yeah.
You'll start receiving responses from the banks from as little as 1 hour all the way to 48 hours. So that's up to 2 days. And, once all the banks have come back, then you can have that conversation to negotiate and get the best deal for you.
Okay. So, you've mentioned, I think, twice or 3 times that if you go through this process, you get a cashback. Kanjani? Because, I'm applying. How do I then get a cashback for just using, your platform?
Yeah. So the way that works is that we've set up our business model in such a way that the banks pay us a fee for originating the loan. We go on risk and go through the process of getting the customer onboarded and sent through to all the banks. And when the banks pay us a fee, we then have a shared value model where we pay part of our fee back to the customer for them using our platform, right? So I'm of the belief that in the world that we live in, right, you need to do business where everyone, a buyer, is a partner to you.
Yeah.
Right. You're giving them a service, they're giving you their hard-earned money. And so in our world, when you use our platform, we give you something back for using our platform.
Yeah.
And so it's a real amount. We could, I don't want to talk about other competitors, but essentially we didn't have to do this. We could just give you the ability to compare your home loans, and that would be a good enough service. But we just felt it was the right thing to do, because the home loans journey and the journey of buying a house is an expensive journey.
Yeah.
And so every penny counts. And if we can give you something back or help you get a discount from other service providers, then we'll certainly do so.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And one of the things that I wanted to just go back on in terms of the offers that people get, they make their own choice. They're not coerced to follow any financial institution. So you basically show them the 5 or 6 or 7 offers that are there, and they then make
that decision.
Yeah.
We took the view that this has to be a very transparent process.
Yeah.
Customers need to be the ones in the driving seat making the best offer. Or taking the best offer, because it's a long-term commitment.
Yes.
Right.
20 years.
It's a 20 to 30-year commitment. Yeah. So if your interest rate can be bettered by 0.5%, that could save you tens of thousands of rands, literally. Yeah. Right. And you see the impact on that on your monthly repayments over the life of the loan. And so it was important that we were transparent with customers, and we let all the banks give their best offers. And we don't hold any water for any one of the banks, and we do our jobs to ensure that customers feel like they've made the best long-term decision. Yeah. That's a big part of our proposition, is the level of transparency that they get in the best deal.
Yeah. Wow. I love the cashback. We all love money. I always say to people, I do this podcast because I love money. Yeah. I love talking about money. Yeah. And what an amazing way of applying for a home loan. And then at the end of the process, you get a cashback. It's money that you really could use to do other things, because you still need to pay attorney fees. You still need to pay registration, transfers.
Moving
fees. There's so much, that you can do. Is the 5,000 a flat rate or?
So it's we used to have it as a flat rate. It's now a variable rate, depending on the size of your home loan. But the reality is that we are giving you something tangible back. Yeah. Right. And we want to do it in a way that is equitable. Yeah. For us to still run the business, and for you to get a tangible reward back. So
all right. So I love this process that MortgageMarket has in place. What I wanted to check is, if I'm a first-time home buyer and I probably are in the lower end of the market, and I don't have enough information or to prepare myself for this process. Do you have education that you offer your clients? And a lot of people are not even aware that if you earn certain income brackets, you qualify for FLISP, which is a government given subsidy. So do you have any education that you do for your clients upfront, so that they should actually prepare themselves adequately before they do the 12-step process?
Absolutely. So the first thing that we always try to get customers to identify with is their credit score, right? So we have a pre-approval process that takes 2 minutes, right? Because once you're well informed about what you can afford and what your credit score is, right, you are much more confident that this dream that you want, doesn't sour when you look at what your financial position is. So we gear people up for that. And we have service advisors who are qualified bond professionals who will take you through the A to Z of what it means to be a homeowner, what to expect from the journey, why you should take out, maybe a shorter term of 20 years, or why you should put down a deposit. We give you all of that insight, and we give you all of that advice, right? Because what we've found is that when people are equipped up front through our process, they are less likely to get into default when they go through a different financial cycle, because they understand what they're getting themselves into.
Yeah.
So it's a very fundamental part of our value proposition, which is the buy education.
Yeah.
We also will be able to, if you qualify for our first home finance, which is formerly FLISP, essentially we can help you make that application for FLISP alongside your application to the commercial banks, which eases the burden of you having to produce the same information through twice again, right? So we help you align that entire process. So you're making a single application that's going to multiple places. So that convenience factor, right, is what unlocks the value of the best deal, and also encourages people to undertake this. Because the last thing we want is for people to use the wrong funding model to buy property. It's very sad that some people still use personal loans to fund property when they should be using a home loan to fund the property.
Wow. This is a comprehensive process that covers, that touches on all aspects, and I think that for someone that's watching, that's thinking about purchasing a home for the first time, or probably they'll be buying a second home that they will use for investment, then they go into it better equipped, and they know what platform to use for them to get much more. And maybe before we come to wrapping it up, you give them money back.
Yes.
You charge them for this service.
Good question. Our entire service. Thank you for asking that. Because the feeling might be, oh wow, this is going to cost me a lot. Our service is completely free to the customers. It's the banks that pay us a fee, and the collectivism of the volume is how we make our money. Right. So our service is free to you at all times. The advice that we give is impartial. We make sure that at the end of the day, when you use us, we're able to give you something back, and we fight to get you the best deal. So some people have said to me, but if I go through your platform, maybe the banks charge a high amount. That can't be the case, because we are ultimately helping you negotiate the best deal, and your rate is typically based on the size of your bond, the credit profile that you have, and the amount of deposit that you put down. So long answer short is that it is a free service. It costs you nothing to use our platform.
Wow. Free mahal. And I just want to say this has just been such an amazing engagement around the home loan process, our first episode in that regard. And I'm hoping that all the people that have been watching, that are continue to watch from wherever they are, because this is a digital platform, you can reach anyone from wherever they are. They can then log on to this platform and make use of it and get something in return. So just as a closing, I always ask my guests to scatter a seed of wisdom, so that when they think about episode 21 with Tim, they say, no, this is the one thing that I got, the nugget that I got from it.
Yeah, what I will say is I'll give it a bias to property, which is one thing is you want to buy a house or an investment property in the best area. Always go for the best area. It's much better to buy the worst house in the best area than the best house in the worst area. That's number one, right? The number two thing I will say is that you will be shocked about the cost of property 20 years from now. Property is the one asset that keeps up with inflation and guards and protects against inflation. Not even your money in a bank keeps up with inflation or protects against inflation, because the cost of buying property only is getting more and more expensive year on year on year. So the sooner you can buy it, the better.
Yeah.
That would be my advice.
Wow. There you have it. Advice from Tim. Take it or leave it. We just give you the advice and it's up to you to take it or use it. On that note, I'd like to thank you so much, Tim, for having this conversation with us. And I'd like to ask our viewers, because we're going to be going on this long journey, there are quite a number of things that Tim mentioned that we will look at, how to leverage on property, how to, and all of those things,
Sure.
So I'd like to ask that, our viewers also send us recommendation on which topics they'd like us to touch on in the home loan process, so that we just don't make it about us, but it's us also making sure that we are empowering you with what is relevant to you. And as I sign off, I'd like to just encourage you to do the right thing. You are aware that we're offering you the best podcast information. Click on that subscribe button so that you don't miss our next episodes. Until next time, thank you.